So let me ask you something. What if your growth this week isn't about doing more, but becoming more? It's a really simple question, but the answer can change everything. And in this explainer, we're going to dive into what that actually means.
We all know this feeling, don't we? That Sunday night dread, the Monday morning wave of pressure, gotta achieve, gotta perform, gotta just flat out do more than last week. It's this relentless cycle of noise and ambition. And you know what? It's exhausting. But what if the most important changes in our lives aren't the loud, celebrated ones? What if they happen in those quiet moments that nobody else ever sees? That's the big idea we're going to explore today.
Okay, so to understand the alternative, we first have to put a name to the trap that so many of us are stuck in. I'm talking about the world of hustle culture. You know exactly what I mean. It's that rise and grind mentality. It actually glamorizes being constantly busy, bragging about not taking breaks, skipping vacations, or even meals. It's this belief that your value is tied directly to your output and your exhaustion is somehow a badge of honor.
And this isn't some small niche problem. According to Psychology Today, a staggering 45% of the workforce actively brags about being part of this culture. Just think about that for a second. Nearly half of us have bought into the idea that burning ourselves out is something to be proud of.
This slide right here really gets to the core of it. On the one hand, you've got a performance-based identity. It's fragile. When you define yourself by your wins, by your promotions, what happens when you have a setback? Your entire sense of self can just shatter. But then look at the other side, a purpose-based identity. This is resilient. It's grounded in your values, in your why, which stays solid no matter what life throws at you. So, if the endless hustle isn't the answer, then what is? Well, this brings us to a really powerful, much quieter alternative that's gaining ground even among the world's most accomplished people. This quote from Pam McLean, who's a leader in this space, just captures the shift perfectly. The idea isn't about being lazy, not at all. It's about being strategic, being intentional. You hear authors like Cal Newport call it slow productivity. It's the path to getting more meaningful results by focusing deeply on fewer things.
I love this analogy. It is such a powerful way to think about this. We so often try to force clarity by fighting with our own thoughts, right? But this suggests the real path isn't to somehow remove the sand, but to simply pause long enough to let it all settle on its own.
And that pause, it's anything but unproductive. It pulls us right into the now. See, the past and the future, they only exist in our minds, but the present moment, that's where we can actually create something new. By pausing, we shift from just reacting to the world to being intentionally creative within it. Okay, so how do we actually do this? This isn't just theory. There are real, concrete, simple techniques we can use to start cultivating this inner stillness. Let's open up our inner toolkit. Here are 5 scientifically backed mindfulness practices that are literally designed for a busy workday. You don't need a yoga mat or a silent room for these. These are tools you can use right in the middle of the chaos to help you find your center in 60 seconds or less. Let's just zoom in on this one, the mindful pause. I mean, how many times have you fired off an email or text and immediately regretted the tone? This one habit, a single conscious breath before you click send, is how you choose awareness over reaction. It creates just enough space to shift from an emotional impulse to a thoughtful response. And for a more structured technique, you have to try box breathing. This is a super powerful tool. It's used by people in high-stress jobs, including elite military units like the Navy SEALs, to lower their heart rate and clear their minds in a crisis. It's simple. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, 4 seconds out, hold for 4. It's like a remote control for your own nervous system. So, here's the most important point. You don't have to become some meditation master. The power isn't in one perfect hour-long session. It's in the small, consistent moments of awareness that you sprinkle throughout your day. Just start with 1 minute. That's it. But this isn't just a nice idea, you know? There's some deep science that explains why these small shifts can have such a profound impact on our lives and, on our success. At the very heart of this whole approach is a concept you've probably heard of called delayed gratification. It's our ability to resist that easy, immediate pleasure, like, say, checking social media, for a much more significant long-term reward, like actually finishing an important project. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment proved just how critical this skill is. The kids who could wait for that second marshmallow, resisting the urge to eat the first one right away, went on to have dramatically better life outcomes all across the board.
The ability to pause is basically a foundational skill for success.
Now, the second key concept is something called self-efficacy. It's a term from the psychologist Albert Bandura. Really, it's just your belief in your own ability to get things done. It's that inner confidence that you can do it. And without that belief, new habits almost never stick. But here's the key. Every single time you successfully practice a small pause or do one round of box breathing, you're not just calming down. You're sending a little signal to your brain that says, hey, I'm capable. You are literally building self-efficacy, one breath at a time.
So this brings us to our final section. How do we put it all together? How do we actually move from a life of just frantic doing to one of intentional becoming? This quote just says it all, doesn't it? In our culture, we are obsessed with the visible branches. The promotions, the achievements, all the stuff people can see. But the most critical growth, the kind that creates real stability and strength, it all happens quietly, underground, where no one is watching. And this is the transformational shift. Instead of just focusing on your to-do list, I want you to focus on your to-be list. Do you want to become more patient, more present, more disciplined? When you start focusing on who you are becoming in the process, you realize something amazing. You're not chasing growth anymore. You're already living it.
And that brings us to our final question for you. Forget the long list of goals for just a moment. What is just one inner shift, one quiet practice that you can commit to this week? Maybe it's a 1-minute breathing reset, or maybe it's that mindful pause before you reply to an email. Choose one small thing, because that is where the real growth begins.